Hey everyone! Today we're diving into something that might surprise you. Musical notes. They look simple, just dots and lines on a page, right? But somehow, a musician in France, another in India, and another in the US can all read them and play the exact same music. How did that happen? How did musical notation become one of the only truly universal languages? To help us figure it out, I invited someone who can explain things in a way that even my dog would understand. Smarty. Welcome back, Smarty.
Thanks, Alice. Always a pleasure to be here. And you're right, musical notes might be one of the most underrated inventions in human history. They don't just represent sound. They preserve it, transmit it, and connect people across space and time. In fact, they're the reason we can still play music from hundreds of years ago, exactly as the composer intended.
Okay, but how did this all start? Like, did people just suddenly decide to draw dots and lines and say, this means music now?
It actually started way back in medieval Europe, like around the 9th century. Monks were singing Gregorian chants, and they needed a way to make sure everyone stayed in sync. So they began marking up their manuscripts with symbols above the text, showing the rise and fall of the melody. These early symbols were called neumes. They didn't show exact pitches or rhythms, but they gave a general shape to the melody.
So like musical squiggles?
Exactly. Think of them as musical emoji. Great for emotion, not so great for precision. Over time, those squiggles became more structured. Lines were added to show pitch, and note shapes were created to show duration. Eventually, this evolved into the 5-line staff system we know today.
So 5 lines, different note shapes, clefs, sharps, flats, it all came from monks?
Yep. Church music was the driving force behind early musical notation. The church wanted consistency across its services, and written music was the answer. It was also a way to pass down music from generation to generation, without relying on memory.
And it worked?
It really did. By the 12th century, musical notation had become much more standardized. By the 15th century, thanks to the printing press, it was being shared and distributed widely. And by the 18th century, it had become the dominant method of writing music across Europe.
But why did this particular system stick around? I mean, didn't other cultures have their own ways of writing music?
They did. India has sargam, which uses syllables like sa, re, ga, ma. China developed jianpu, a numeric system. The Middle East had its own modes and oral traditions. But the 5-line staff system became globally dominant for a few reasons. It's precise, flexible, and it works across a huge range of instruments and styles. Also, Western colonization and missionary education helped spread it around the globe.
So it wasn't just a good idea, it had good marketing?
Basically, yes. The spread of Western classical music through schools, churches, and conservatories helped entrench the system. Over time, even musicians from non-Western traditions began learning it as a second language.
That's kind of amazing. Bien. Like a musical passport.
Exactly. Sheet music became a kind of global travel document for musicians. If you can read notation, you can play with anyone, anywhere. A string quartet in Tokyo can play the same Beethoven as a group in Paris or Buenos Aires.
How does it actually work, though? I see notes on a page, but how does that turn into actual music?
Great question. Each note on the staff corresponds to a specific pitch. The position tells you how high or low it sounds. The shape of the note tells you how long to hold it, like a whole note, half note, quarter note. There are also symbols for rests, dynamics, articulation, and tempo. Once you know the code, you can play anything written in that system.
So it's kind of like a programming language for sound?
Exactly. It's a symbolic system that gives detailed instructions to musicians. And once you're fluent, you can read music the way you read a book. Some musicians can even hear the melody in their head just by looking at the page.
Okay, that's a superpower.
It's called audiation, the ability to hear music in your mind just from notation. And yes, it's like a musical sixth sense.
Are there any downsides to this system? Like, what if you're making beats? Or improvising?
Great point. Traditional notation isn't perfect for everything. It can be too rigid for improvisation or electronic music. That's why jazz musicians often use lead sheets, just chords and melody. And in electronic music, producers use digital notation tools like piano rolls. Those show pitch and duration using blocks on a grid, not traditional notes.
So it adapts?
It does. The idea of turning music into something visual is still at the heart of all these systems. Whether it's on paper or on a screen, we're still trying to capture sound in a way we can share.
That's kind of beautiful.
It really is. And here's the amazing part: notation doesn't just connect people across geography. However, it connects us across time. We can play the music of someone who lived 300 years ago. No. We can revive forgotten works. No. We can build on the past while creating something new.
It's like time travel for your ears.
Exactly. A composer can write a message in notes, and someone centuries later can read it and bring it to life. There aren't many languages that offer that kind of continuity.
And it's not just classical music, right?
Nope. Notation is used in film scores, pop songs, video game music, you name it. Even if a final performance is improvised, notation often plays a role in the planning or teaching stages. And many musicians today are bilingual reading notation and using modern tools like DAWs and MIDI.
So should everyone learn to read music?
If you're serious about music, it's a game changer. It opens doors to understanding harmony, structure, rhythm, and style. It helps you collaborate, compose, and even think more musically. It's like going from humming a tune to speaking full musical sentences.
That's such a good way to say it. Nika na plazo. I never thought of it as a form of speaking.
It is. It's a way of expressing ideas that can't be captured with words. And because it's universal, you don't need a translator, just an instrument.
Smarty, I have to say, I feel like I understand music on a whole new level now.
That's the goal. Music is for everyone, and so is the language behind it.
Okay, I'm inspired. Ma, I think I'm gonna learn how to read music this year.
Yes, go for it. It's like unlocking a secret layer of the world.
Thanks for joining us, Smarty, and thanks to everyone listening. Now you know that musical notation isn't just about playing notes. It's about connection, memory, creativity, and communication.
Exactly. And the best part is, you don't need to be a genius to understand it. You just need curiosity, and maybe a metronome.
See you all next time.
Can't wait.